us what's up with Ted Cruz.
I am your crazy-ass Texan correspondent.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
He is a crazy-ass Texan. I mean, Ted Cruz is a frightening individual. And, I don't recall Ted Cruz being really in the Texas political scene when I was there, from kind of for most of the 90s. But he clearly, I think he was up here getting his resume padded, as he apparently is so proud of, and has just kind of like, not come out of nowhere, but come back, been created out of this establishment, this very powerful Republican establishment that the ground zero for it really is in Texas. I mean, Karl Rove's from Texas. A lot of the engineers, Dick Armey, Tom DeLay, the engineers of the modern Republican Party are from Texas. Cruz is a product of that, but he is not one of even those guys. We can be pretty extreme. Ted Cruz is a different breed. I mean, I think he terrifies John Cornyn. I think he terrifies Republicans from Texas.
Well, it seems that his goal is to alienate as many Republicans as he can. I mean, he has called first of all, John McCain called him and Mike Lee wacko birds, right?
Yes.
So he has called his fellow Republican squishes. He says they're members of the Surrender Caucus, right?
Uh-huh.
And he's done everything he can to sort of embarrass them. He said also in this GQ article, which is a profile, which is out yesterday, that he doesn't know any conservative who was not embarrassed to vote for president in 2008. Now, let's see. Who was the Republican nominee for president in 2008? Yeah, John McCain.
Not very good Senate politics if you're going to be an effective senator for the state of Texas, which folks listening in Texas should remember that.
Yeah. So now he's lining up. He wants to get all of his Republican senators behind him to filibuster funding for Obamacare as part of the continuing resolution. He's not finding many Republicans to stand up with him.
This just drives me crazy. I have to say this. This is a guy who gets up and he is just lamblasts everybody. He's bombastic. He was on the Senate floor of all people lamenting the other day. That this town has a tendency towards brinksmanship, and I'm like, seriously, that actually just came out of Ted Cruz's mouth. He's literally like a one-man wrecking crew when it comes to potentially with what we're facing with our economy and our government, and what he is fighting against. The Obamacare is essentially a market-based solution to a national crisis, to a national healthcare crisis that in the long run, there is no question, it is going to save money, it's going to create jobs. We know this. Economists know this, the CBO knows this, and Ted Cruz knows this. He's too smart, he's too well-educated, he may be crazy, but he's not, he's lying. Mm-hmm. And so every time he opens his mouth and rails against Obamacare or appears on one of these commercials that they're running all over the place, it is pure politics. He wants to deny health care to your grandmother, to your mother, just so he can score political points for himself, not even for the Republican Party.
Here is, on your point, Ted Cruz yesterday talking about Obamacare and the danger of Obamacare. And again, I think he's lying through his teeth.
Americans all over this country are suffering because of Obamacare. It is the single biggest job killer in America.
Single biggest job killer in America.
Hasn't even been implemented yet.
Right,
it's already killing jobs.
Doesn't some parts of it have, but the real meat of it kicks in January 1. The exchanges, in order to start getting health care January 1, are available as of a week from today.
That's right.
October 1.
That's right.
But that gets to the point which I made a little earlier on the program. I believe that the reason that Republicans are like Ted Cruz and the Tea Party Republicans in the House are so determined to try to defund Obamacare now is that if indeed 30 million people start taking advantage of these health exchanges, then they know. Yes. They know that Obamacare will be there forever.
That's right. And it will be. And God knows.
They're afraid
They're terrified.
They're against it not because they feel it'll fail. They're against it because they fear it will succeed.
And when it does succeed, they'll start trying to call it Reagan care, and they'll start trying to take credit. And I have to give that. That was David Weigel's line.
Is that right? Yeah.
But there's a truth to that, because ultimately the plan that President Obama used was a conservative plan. I think it was the Heritage Foundation's plan. It is a market-based solution to our healthcare problems, and I think it's going to be a very, very effective one over time. And they want to see government fail. And so we've talked about this before. Would you put a CEO in charge of a company that wants that company to fail? No American, no insane American ever would agree to that. So why do we keep electing? I'm talking to my friends in Texas. Why do we keep electing senators who want to see every government fail at all costs, even if it costs your family?
But you see, this is with Ted Cruz and the rest. This is the last gasp, as I see it. They tried to defeat the Affordable Care Act in the Congress, lost. It passed. The President signed it into law 3.5 years ago. Then they tried to take it all the way. They took it all the way to the Supreme Court to try to kill it. Guess what? The Supreme Court upheld it. The Roberts Supreme Court upheld it. They made this the issue in 2012 for the election. So it was basically a referendum on President Obama and Obamacare.
And they lost.
The American people, they lost there. So they've lost this is their last shot.
Yeah,
last shot.
Well, that, and they're pursuing nullifications and lawsuits in the states, which is just going to cost money. It's like the 40 some odd votes that they've taken in the House to defund Obamacare, over the last year, instead of actually solving the problems of the country. How many millions of dollars does that cost taxpayers? Ted Cruz is up here wasting the taxpayers' money, and he knows they have no end game. The end game for Ted Cruz is Ted Cruz. I don't know that I see Ted Cruz sticking around the Senate very long. He's making too many enemies on his own side. This is a guy who has kind of a Sarah Palin-ish fetish and a need to be famous and a need to be in the limelight.
Well, yeah, interesting you should say that, because the only Republican that I know, other than maybe Mike Lee from Utah, although Mike Lee kind of, they're blood brothers, but at the same time, Mike Lee keeps a little distance from Ted Cruz. Marco Rubio certainly does now.
Yeah,
Rand Paul.
I mean, what do you have to do to get Rand Paul and Marco Rubio?
But the one who stands up and the one who defended Ted Cruz is Sarah Palin.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
There you go. And I think she attacked Fox News in the process.